Hey, this is Tom with New Currency University. In this video, I want to give you the #1 reason why you want to start investing in cryptocurrency or adding it to your portfolio. I like to call this the mall of retirement. And as you can see, the store for retirement is on the second floor. Many of you have been to malls and you've seen this kind of setup where there's two escalators, one goes up and one goes down. And let's just pretend for a minute that the retirement store is on the second floor and you are on the first floor. Well, prior to 2009 or before 2009, in this mall there was only one escalator, and that escalator was going down. And so for you to get to the retirement store, you had to walk up the down escalator, not only against the traffic of other people, but more importantly against the flow of the escalator. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever tried to walk up a down escalator, but it requires twice as much energy for you to get to the top, and sometimes you get halfway up and you get tired and it takes you all the way back down the minute you become stationary. So for those that remember 2000 and 2008, you remember the escalator kind of stalled and everybody started going backwards again. And so this escalator was prior to 2009. After 2009, they put in a new escalator, and that is an escalator that goes up. And so I contend that if you're going to get to retirement, wouldn't it be better to go up an up escalator than trying to go up a down escalator? This one requires twice as much energy, and it takes twice as much time for you to get to the top. This one you literally can step on, and potentially it could take you to the top. For example, you could buy one Bitcoin for $1,200, and if it goes to $1 million, literally all you had to do is step on the escalator. And so I guess what we're saying today is we want you to consider stepping on the new escalator. Okay. Now, Einstein has a definition of insanity. He said if you keep doing the same thing over and over expecting a different result, that is the definition of insanity. So if prior to 2009, this was your only choice, and we get that, okay? So we were all working for currency that was losing value. And I have a lot of people say, well, prove it to me that currency was losing value. Well, there you go. That's pretty simple. Doesn't that look like a down escalator to you? That's the USD, the Euro, the Yen, the UK, the Won, and the Canadian dollar all moving in unison. And people always ask me, say, Tom, why does currency go down in value? Well, it's because the governments keep printing it and they keep diluting your interest. You know, for example, let's say you have a dollar bill today and there's 20 trillion of them issued. Okay, and so let's say your dollar buys $1 worth of goods. Well, next year the government decides to issue another $1 trillion. Well, now there's $21 trillion. Well, they just diluted the interest of your dollar by 5 cents. So technically they should reissue dollar bills that say 0.95 on them. Okay, so every time the government issues more and expands the amount of debt or the amount of notes in circulation, they call it quantitative easing, which is kind of a fancy word for depreciation or diluting your dollar or whatever currency you're using. So, I know since I've been working, my currency has lost 40% of its value in the last 30 years. And people say, well, how do you know that? It still says a dollar bill on it. And I say, well, yeah, it does. But my milk, 30 years ago was $1.90 a gallon. And today it's $3 and, 60, 70 cents, depending on what milk you buy, obviously. But it's about double. It's close to double. And so when you think about it, it's like everybody's mad at the grocery stores and the food manufacturers for raising the price of their groceries. But that's not what's going on. The amount of currency that you need to buy the same product, which is probably cheaper to produce today. I would suspect peanut butter is cheaper to produce today than it was 20 years ago, wouldn't you? I would say it's cheaper to produce a gallon of milk today than it was 70 years ago. Well, 70 years ago, a gallon of milk was 38 cents. Why is it $3.80 today? Well, it's pretty simple. The US dollar has lost 93% of its value in the last 70 years. So, you can argue with me all you want, but the facts don't lie, numbers don't lie. You are working harder for less, okay? See up there it says, yes, yes you are. Okay, so you really can't argue with it. If you're working for any of these currency, this is what's happened to the value of your purchasing power. And that's why insurance seems so expensive. Auto insurance, groceries, just everything, doctor bills, cars, everything just seems so much more expensive. And it's really not more expensive. It just requires more of the currency that you're used to carrying around. So pre-2009, this was your only option, to acquire a currency that was going down in value, that was eroding, okay, almost like the coastline of California. That's what the dollar kind of feels like, it's just falling off the cliff, all right? And so if you have a dollar working against you, or a pound or a euro, okay, which all same effect, okay, if you have the currency working against you, that means for you to get to the top, you've got to work a lot harder. So a lot of people say, man, Tom, I worked all my life and I got to retirement and I had, half as less I thought I would. Well, yeah, it's because they didn't tell you about depreciation, that they were going to dilute the money supply by 90%, okay, or 100%. I think since Obama was in, I think they produced twice as much debt. In I think 11 trillion in debt they added. So it's pretty amazing. And they call it quantitative easing. So when you all hear that, that is a very bad term. As I jokingly tell people, it has nothing to do with hemorrhoids. Quantitative easing means they're quantitatively easing the money out of your pocket and making you work harder for less. So I guess at the end of the day, you have to ask a question. Do I want to work harder for less? Okay? And if the answer is no, the good news is in post-2009, a new software was created called blockchain-based technology. And blockchain-based technology allowed for these types of cryptocurrencies to become possible. It's kind of like TCP/IP that created the World Wide Web. Prior to 1990, the World Wide Web was not possible because that technology was owned by an organization called ARPANET. Okay? But after 1990, your option became, should I go to the post office or should I send an email? What do you all do today? You either send an email or text. When was the last time you've been in a post office to mail a letter? Okay? And so the same thing's happening today. It's like kind of like, why would you work for this when you could work for this? This is the post service. This is email and texting over here. And the reason why we have it is because post-2009, we have a technology that makes cryptocurrency possible. Now, cryptocurrency is a currency that has the potential to go up in value and rapidly. In fact, there are people that put in like $5,000. Story of one guy put $5,000 into Ethereum, and 9 months later he cashed it out with $5 million. He's retired. He's done. Okay, he can take $1 million of that $5 million and randomly invest in more cryptocurrencies moving forward, and just continue to print money. So the smart money, the smart investors are getting into cryptocurrency because they like the idea of a currency that goes up in value versus a currency that goes down in value. And honestly, folks, if you're trying to get to retirement, wouldn't you rather have a currency that increases in value? Okay, so let's take an example of how that works. Let's say we've got 1,000 OneCoins. Okay, and a year ago in May it was worth, I guess, about 50 cents a coin, and I go buy a hamburger that's $15. Okay, well, that means it's going to take 30 OneCoins to buy that same hamburger. Okay, so a year later the hamburger's still $15, but now my coin is worth $7.50. Okay, so in the first year I bought the hamburger, I went from 1,000 coins to 970 coins. All right, write this math down. Okay, in the second year when I went back to buy that hamburger, I went from 970 coins to 968. So my buying power actually increased with my OneCoins versus my dollar that continued to lose money. So, my dollar may be worth 5% less, so that burger cost me 75 cents more than it did the year before. Okay, so would you rather spend less money or would you rather spend more money on the burger? Okay, so the reality is blockchain-based technology makes cryptocurrencies available. Post-2009, this option was not available to you. Your option was to invest in the stock market and try and beat the stock market. Good luck on that one. 93% of people who invest in the stock market lose money. Okay, so the stock market is like Vegas. The house always wins. All right, not always. 7% of the time they don't. but most of the time they do win. So I wanted to educate you on this and spend a little bit of time helping you understand this example, because a lot of people look at this and they go, what does this all mean? Well, what it means is you can acquire currencies that are increasing in value. What if you could build a portfolio of say, OneCoin, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ripple, or Dubai coin, or whatever? There's a whole bunch. There's about 700 cryptocurrencies now, and there's probably going to be tens of thousands of them. And some are going to catch on like wildfire and take off like rockets, like kind of like OneCoin has, and Bitcoin and Ethereum. These are all very successful cryptocurrencies. And so what I'm urging people to do is kind of wake up, stop doing the insanity thing, and trying to keep running up this down escalator. This is dead over here, folks. This is the post office, okay? This is the internet. This is email. This is texting. This is the future of finance. And this side, this right escalator, which post 2009 is now available in the mall, okay? And you can get to the retirement store a lot faster. So I hope this makes sense. And I tell my friends, I care enough about you to share this with you, because you are working harder for less, okay? And I don't want you to do that. That just seems insane. It doesn't seem smart. But you'll say, well, Tom, can you explain why these increase in value? Well, they're finite. They only make so much of it. This they make an unlimited amount of, okay? So when a cryptocurrency publishes the algorithm online, the financial currency algorithm, they determine how many coins will be created, and that can never be changed, okay? So it's kind of like digital gold, but we know exactly how much gold is in the ground. We technically don't know how much gold that God created. We really don't, okay? There are people that have made estimates out there, but they're just throwing darts at a board to try and sound intelligent. But like OneCoin, we know how many OneCoins there are, and there'll never be any more. We know how many Bitcoins are, there'll never be any more. Same for Litecoin, Ripple coin, etc. That's what makes this so valuable, is just like the 1965 Mustang. We know how many were made, 649,440 of them, okay? Why has the 1965 Mustang gone up in value? Because there are a limited production of them, they're finite, and the demand for them around the world is growing. And that's why a Mustang has gone up 10 to 20 times in value since it's originally been manufactured. So the finiteness of digital currency makes it very appealing. Of course, the transparency. You know, folks, you won't do terrorism or child sex trafficking or any type of illegal activities on digital currency, because it's all traceable, okay? So I like digital currency because it will eliminate the crime element, and I can be a part of a currency that's being used for good, whereas the dollar, the pound, and the euro and many other currencies are used for terrorism and drug dealing and arms running and murder for hire. So I do like that about digital currency as well. So I don't know. It just seems like to make sense. These are portable. They're private. They're profitable. These are not portable. They're not private. And unless you're in probably something illegal, they're not terribly profitable either. So, folks, if you want a currency that goes up in value, you take the right escalator. If you want a currency that goes down in value, you take the left escalator. And I don't know. That just doesn't make sense to me if you want to work harder for less. I want to work harder for more. That's what this is all about. I'm not against working harder. Some of you say, I just want to get to the retirement without doing anything. Well, buy some Bitcoins, buy some OneCoins, buy some Ripple coin, buy some Ethereum, and there's a very good chance that that will work in your favor. But this is Tom McMurrin with New Currency University. Hope you enjoyed this presentation. Feel free to share it with a friend that you care about. But the post office is dead, folks. This is if you're working for this, you are going to focus on the post office. This is the future of finance and the future of payments, and it's where all the smart money investors are, like Richard Branson and Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and Mark Andreessen and Tim Draper and even Bill Gates and Steve Forbes. I mean, some of the most prolific business leaders in the world are emphasizing that this is the way to go. This is the new money. Okay. Or PayPal would like to call it the new money. So this is Tom McMurrin with New Currency University. I hope you enjoyed this video. Share it with a friend and let them know that there's a new payment method in town. There's a new way to get to retirement, and it's called cryptocurrency. Have a great day, everyone.